My name's Mark, and I'm a changed man because I'm under new management. And I can honestly say that Jesus Christ loves you, man, because he loved me. He loved me, and he loves you just as. And I can say that because I know in my heart for it to be true, right? I can say that because of the life I once lived, right? It's not the life that I am today, right? Because I used to be an alcoholic. I used to be well into drugs. I used to be a ruffian. I used to be not what I am today because of what Jesus has done in my life. You know what? You know, when I was involved in drugs, when I was involved in drink, you know, I loved it. I loved it, right? Because of the control that I had, because of the things that I could do, that I was getting noticed, right? But whilst I was in that, I was loved, but I didn't know that, right? And I'm telling you, if you're in that, involved in that, you're loved too. You're loved too, because Jesus came to set you free, and he certainly set me free. And I'll tell you something, right? As we go through life, right? Learning things, right? We learn things about ourselves too. And Jesus come into my life in such a way that I didn't really know, right? He come into my life, right? Whilst I was mixed up in drink, whilst I was mixed up smoke and blow, right? And I moved from Lowestoft. From Newcastle to Lowestoft in the year 2000. And then it was like I kept bumping into this woman. In the year 2005, and she kept on telling us about the love of Jesus. But I was so wrapped up in my stuff, right, that I wasn't really interested, and I was pretty rude to her, man. You know, I was pretty rude to her. I used to tell her, oh, go away, I'm not interested, you know. But at the end of the day, she kept coming back and telling me about the love of Jesus. And you know, and I thank God for that woman. I thank God for her because she never gave in. And she kept on coming back and telling us about the love of Jesus every time I bumped into her. And there was this day I kept thinking to myself, well, if I see her, I'm gonna see how real it is. You know, because she's talking the talk, I'm gonna see how real it is. Right? And then I bumped into her this particular day, and I says to her, can you help us out with some furniture and stuff like that for me flat? Because I had nothing in me flat, nothing. All I had in me flat was drink, alcohol, because at that time I was well in the drink and whatnot. But I'll tell you something, right? She came on that Saturday night, and that was on the 4th of the 5th, right? And she says to me, I've brought you some blankets and that. And I was drinking with all my pals in the flat, right? And I says, oh, how are we involved? But it touched me because I seen the kindness that she gave us, that she was shown, right? And then she came in, right? And I'm drinking with all my pals in the flat, you know, and I'm saying to myself, oh, look at this. Oh, see what. But I'll tell you something. Jesus loves you, man. You know, no matter where you are in life, he loves you. you know. But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something else as well, right? That woman made me bed. She made me bed, right? She was I remember this because she was wiping all the alcohol off the top of me benches, right? And she turned around and she says, "Oh, do you want a Sunday's dinner?" And I says, "Oh, I hadn't had a Sunday's dinner in months and months, man." And I was thinking, "Oh, well, yeah, you know." And she, yes, and it's like she says, "You'll have to come to church." I answer, right. And I started weighing up the odds. You know, like church, dinner, church, dinner. And guess what? The dinner won, right? But that means I'd have to go to church to get me dinner. So I turned around to Val, the woman, and I says, "Oh, well, I tell you what, I'll come to your church, but for my dinner." She said, "Fair enough. But I'll tell you, right? I'll tell you, as soon as I walked into that church, as true as I'm sat here telling you this, right? And as God is my witness, right? I started singing words. I started singing the words as if I knew them, and they were just coming out my mouth, right? And I didn't, and I was like going, "What's going on? You know, what's happening?" Right? And it was like an instant. It was like, and it was like I started crying because I was singing at this. Because I couldn't understand it. All this that was, right? And because, and you know what it sounds like when you're singing and crying at the same. But then it's like, then I says to Val, I says, "What's going on, Val? What's going on?" She says, "Oh, you've been touched." Right? And on the 5th of the 5th, I give my heart to the Lord, and I've never looked back, because He says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." And I'll tell you something, right? I'm eating that dinner right now. I'm eating that dinner still today, because I will forever go on eating His word. You know, I'll just keep it deep into me. And I can guarantee, I can say this to you, right? If you can have me, you can have you, because I'm under new management.